Good morning, students. So today in this video class, so let us we start with that is phylum Chordata. So actually in previous video we discussed about phylum Chordata and its general characters. There are fundamental characters we discussed. So now the phylum Chordata is divided or classified into three subphylum, that is three subphyla, right? So first phylum Urochordata, and second subphylum Cephalochordata, third subphylum, so that is third subphylum is Vertebrata. Okay, it's also called Craniata, right? So it's also referred as Craniata, right? So this is what the Craniata. So understood. So that is due to presence of cranium. So we also call it as Craniata, right? So this is what the another name for this Vertebrata, right? So as we know that the Vertebrata are having very specific features, we can say. So that is the fundamental features, fundamental characters, right? So let us we discuss the general features of Vertebrata. Usually in general when we are discussing about chordates and non-chordates, right? Chordates and non-chordates, there are up to here we have discussed the non-chordates. There are 10 phyla, right? 10 phyla from Porifera to up to Hemichordata we can consider, Hemichordata. So earlier that Hemichordata also studied under this Chordata as a subphylum. So there was 4 subphyla in under the phylum Chordata, but now only 3 phyla we are studying. Already in previous video we have studied the Cephalochordata and Urochordata, right? Urochordata and Cephalochordata, these are the subphyla. 2 subphyla are studied in a previous video. Now so subphylum, that is Vertebrata, right? Subphylum Vertebrata, right? So let us we discuss the details of this Vertebrata now, right? So vertebrates are higher animals rather than the previously what we studied, right? See, they have a notochord. This is very important for the actually chordata, the general feature of a chordata, right? So but here that is continued here, that is of course at least that is present in the embryonic period, and so that is permanently existed here, right? That means the notochord may get modified into a vertebral column. What you call? So that is become vertebral column in case of the adult, right? So that is notochord is replaced. This notochord which is found in the embryonic period, right? So the notochord which is found in the embryonic period in case of embryo, right? So usually internal or external fertilization may be there, but either in larval stage or the either development is direct or indirect, right? So but at least their embryonic stage, what we call embryonic period, so there must be a notochord, right? Then only we can say that is Vertebrata, right? So the this notochord may not be permanent, but so it is modified or replaced. So that notochord is replaced by either bony or cartilaginous, right? Bony means that is a kind of tissue. So cartilage is another kind of tissue. So what we have studied, the dense connective tissue. Yes, so dense connective tissue, that we will learn more about this in the next videos, right? So bony or cartilaginous, right? So that forms the another structure that is called vertebral column. Vertebral column is also called as a backbone, right? Which is also referred as backbone. This backbone is formed in case of adults. So in embryonic period there is a presence of notochord, and this notochord is replaced in adults by yes, there are 2 different types of tissues are formed, that is bony, either cartilaginous. So that vertebral column are also called backbone. This is formed in the adults, right. So this is one of the important feature of vertebrata, right. So next one, the paired appendages, right. Paired appendages. Appendages means the extended part from the body. The main trunk part is there, no? From that the anything which is extended out from the body, so that is called appendages. Either you can say legs or usually locomotor structures, right. So that is paired, they are in pair, right. So upper limbs and lower limbs in case of higher vertebrates, or in case of lower like fishes, like fish, and even in cyclostomata also. So we may observe that fins, right. Fish chondric this, ostrich this, in that class, super class. So Pisces, right. So superclass Pisces has divided into chondric this and ostrich this, as you know, two classes. So they shows the paired and unpaired pins, right. So even cyclostomata, right. So that is also showing the pins for their locomotion. There is no legs or such what we observed in higher animals. So that is referred as limbs. See, limbs either upper and lower, right. So either forelimbs and hind limbs, like this we will refer, and in respective classes we will learn that in detail, right. Either fins or limbs are the locomotory structures or locomotory organs in case of this vertebrata, right, subphylum vertebrata, right. So there are special structures what we observed in this chordata, that is presence of gill slits, right, gill slits. See, there are number of pairs, so you can say that number of pairs, maybe 5 pair or more than that also in cyclostomata, so or in maybe less. So gills are there, that is called pharyngeal gill slits, pharyngeal gill slits, which are helps in the respiration process, mainly in aquatic animals, right. So or in at least in the embryonic stage we observed this one, right. These structures, gill slits, are present in at least in embryonic stage, so which we observed in aquatic animals permanently, or in vertebrates, higher vertebrates that may modified, as you know, metamorphosis, which may undergo metamorphosis, and the lungs are formed, right. So now the next point is ventral heart, the presence of ventral heart. In case of actually non-chordates, there is a dorsal heart may present. If heart is present, that is dorsal side, but here in case of vertebrata usually that is a ventral heart with muscular, that is muscular heart, right. So heart is made up of muscles, that is, as you know, the sometimes in human beings what we call especially the cardiac muscles, the types of muscles, cardiac muscles, that is ventral heart muscular ventral heart is present here, right, which is muscular, and that may be 2 chambered or 3 chambered or incompletely 3 chambered, maybe also 4 chambered, right. Either 2 chambered, what we observed in fish, so in in frog or in reptiles, so in amphibians, so what we observed, that is 3 chambered, right, 3 chambered. So incompletely 3 chambered also we refer, and so in higher vertebrates like mammals we observe that 4 chambered, and class wise we will study that in detail in the next videos, right. So you remember this is a common characters, that's why I am saying here 2, 3 or 4 chambered, right. So these are the features of related to heart. And vascular system or circulatory system, what we call for the transportation of materials. So there is a one more system what we call, that is circulatory system. See, this circulatory system is here closed type, because blood is flows in the vessels, hence we call it as a closed type of circulation, right, closed type of circulation. Next one, next character. So a pair of kidneys are for forming the excretion as well as osmoregulation. Along with the excretion means removal of nitrogenous waste, and osmoregulation means so which will balance the water balance, which will maintain the water balance. So the water should be present in our body, or means in all organisms water is one of the essential thing, so which is it is not exceed or it is not minimized, right. So that will be regulated in an adequate amount, so that is what we call osmoregulation, which is also done by the kidneys. So that details osmoregulation in physiology part we will discuss, right. So next the excretory system, related to excretory system, that is excretion, what we call, no, excretory system can done the excretion, so along with this osmoregulation. And one more here, the genital system. So usually the sexes are separate here, sexes are said to be separate. So urinogenital system we can say. Urinogenital means usually what you call the both excretion as well as reproduction, whatever the organs are there, no, which are little associated, somewhere they are associated, right. So that's why we call it as a both excretion, excretory system as well as genital system together, urinogenital system. Urino means it is related to excretory system, excretory function, and this genital means reproductive function, right. So urino means excretory and genital means reproductive, right. So both are associated and performing their function, hence we call it as urinogenital system. Okay, in anatomy or in physiology part we will discuss the details. Okay, human anatomy or human physiology part. So urinogenital system, so you can understand the details, right. So now nerve cord, about nervous system. When you observe nervous system, so here nervous system is more developed compared to the lower organisms as we studied the non-chordata. So here anterior part of this notochord, as usually notochord is one of the feature of a chordate also, that is vertebrata. No, nerve cord, right. So notochord is this one, this is nerve cord, this is related to backbone, and here nerve cord, nerve means it's nervous system, related to nervous system. So here anterior part of nerve cord is become brain, right. So which forms the brain, and this is protective, which is protected by a covering, hard covering we can say, that is called cranium, right. So cranium can protect it, cranium, which may be either bony or cartilaginous. In lower cyclostomata we can say that may be cartilaginous, or even in cartilaginous fish it is cartilaginous. So in a higher like amphibians, reptiles and birds, mammals, when we take, so cranium is with bony, so that is also called brain case. Brain is found in a case, that is a bony either cartilage, so that is cranium we called, hence the name of this vertebrata is called as craniata, right. So which is also referred as craniata due to presence of cranium, right. So cranium is a protective layer, protective cover around the case, protective cover or a case around the brain. Okay, so that's what the anterior reason. And in posterior part of this nerve cord forms the spinal cord. Spinal cord may be as the spinal nerves. Okay, and even the cranium, we also call it as a cranium, no, brain is also referred as yes, brain is covered by cranium, and this brain produces the nerves. There may be either some pair of nerves are arised directly from brain are called cranial nerves. These are from, this is spinal nerves we called, and cranial nerves from brain. The nerves which are arises from the brain are called yes cranial nerves, and the nerves which are arised from the spinal cord are called spinal nerves, right. In this way, so there are two kinds of peripheral nervous system is also formed, right. So next one, the about skin, see the upper epidermis, so the skin has two layers here, upper and lower. So upper one is called epidermis and lower one is called dermis, right. Upper is epidermis and lower is only dermis we called. So here epidermis so makes exoskeleton structures, epidermal layer of the skin which forms the exoskeleton structures. So depends on their habitat and their different features what we observed, so where it is living, and so based on that will be helpful for their protection. Whole body is protected by this exoskeleton, right. So that is the exoskeleton structures are there here. There may be the scales we called in case of fish, right, scales we can say, right. So that is maybe feathers in case of birds, feathers feathers are in birds, okay, or aves, right? So hair in case of mammals, hair, right? Hair, understood? Hair are the common and special feature of mammals, right? Higher animals we can say. Next, claws, which we observed in mammals, claws, right? Nails we can say, and hooves or hoops, so also referred as hoops, right? Hoops means the legs are ends with a hard what you call foot, so that is referred as hooves or hoops. So maybe that is splitted or maybe somewhat circular, right? So in this way there are different structures are formed which are helps in the protection of the whole body, and as usual the skin layer, that is dermis, which forms the epidermis, right? So this is about what you call subphylum, that is vertebrata and its features. You remember at least these features that is related to vertebrata, okay? So again this vertebrata, why we call it as a craniata, no? This is divided into two divisions. First division, that is agnata, and second division, that is gnatostomata, right? Agnata and gnatostomata. So we will discuss in the next video. Thank you, students.